Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the exercises I use to build my forearms. So let's jump into it. Before doing any grip or wrist exercises, I always warm up with bands. And basically I just put my feet through. You can adjust the level of difficulty by making the band even tighter. So that's really difficult, but if I put my feet in a little bit more, it's much easier. So I'm gonna go ahead and find a nice medium just to warm up with. All right, so what you're trying to do is get a little bit of a pump, a small pump in your arm, so letting the blood flow, fill up your forearms, deliver nutrients and oxygen, and loosen up the tissues, and get those muscles activated and firing and ready for the workout. Okay, so if you're familiar with this channel, you know that I use my backpack a lot for adding weight. And what I've done is I put a fat grips here on the handle of the backpack. And I put weight inside of it. There's 35 pounds in it right now, and you can use this for standing wrist curls. Just kind of cup the end of the fat grip, the bottom of it, with your fingertips, and then just slowly roll it upward. Then switch. And of course, you don't have to do this with a backpack, but the backpack allows me to add more weight. My dumbbells only go up to 25 pounds, so I'm capped off there with just dumbbells alone, but the backpack allows me to go heavier. You should be very careful when you're doing these wrist curls, because the weight could fall out of your hand and land on your foot. What you can do is just position your wrist so it's not over your foot. If you have a computer chair, this works out as a really nice rest or stand for your arm and wrist to perch on to get really good leverage on a wrist curl. And so again, we filled the backpack with weights and have fat grips at the top where the handle is for the backpack, and then just curl. And of course, if you don't have the backpack set up like this, you can always just use your dumbbell. You don't need a fat grips, you can always just do this without, but since I have them, it does make it harder, so I will use them. But if your main goal is to grow your forearms and get strong forearms, you should invest in a pair of fat grips. So if I haven't convinced you enough yet to buy a pair of fat grips, maybe this will. This is a really good forearm exercise, really good for grip strength. I put my Fat Grips Extreme or your regular Pro Series fat grips on your door frame pull-up bar, or you can take them with you to the gym as well. And so what this does is it makes it really hard to hold on, and it engages the thumb a lot. So if I wasn't using a thumb, I couldn't hold on. So my thumb counter pressures my fingers, and I'm working pinch grip strength. So I'm pinching my hands together to support my body weight to do pull-ups. You can do pull-ups, or you can just do hangs, and you can add weight to make it harder. And of course, you can scale every exercise nearly every exercise. And so with the fat grip pull-ups, I'm gonna add a weight vest. This is 60 pounds. And you can adjust the weight vest as needed. One of the most important exercises I have found to growing your forearms, making them bigger and bulkier, is a gripper. I have found that whenever I use a gripper on a regular basis, I can see noticeable development in my forearms. Another one I wanted to show you that I didn't think of when I was first recording this video is what can you do if you don't own a pair of grippers, but you have a pull-up bar. What you can do is hang your body weight from your fingertips and do the same motion you would as if you were using a gripper, but instead you have your body weight. And so the same way you scale pull-ups by adding weight or using some sort of pulley system or some sort of band to take off weight, you can adjust it according to your strength level. So let me demonstrate. So if you don't have grippers, that's an alternative solution to it. Another important exercise in building big, strong forearms is going to be the reverse curl. And I have a fat grips attached to my dumbbell, and I'm just going to try to keep my palm facing down as best as I can the entire lift, but it can be quite challenging to do that. All right, next we have the bicep curl. So now we're rotating our palm upward and curling this way. And I have my backpack set up with the fat grips on it. I have 45 pounds in it. And again, I'm only doing this because this way I can add more weight. My dumbbells only go up to 25. So with everything, of course, you can do it with a dumbbell, but this is a creative way of adding weight to your exercise. So if I haven't made it clear, the fat grips makes everything a lot harder. It changes the leverage points. So because the weight of the exercise, instead of it laying in your palm like that, it's like way out here. And your wrist is really working to keep the weight in a neutral plane, and so your wrist doesn't break. So you're working really hard to keep that weight at the end of your fingers up, which puts a lot of the workload in your forearms, and that's why the fat grips are so great for building strong forearms. The wrist can move in so many different ways. So because of that, there are so many different exercises you need to do to have a well-rounded forearm development, grip strength development. And so here's one that's probably underutilized. It's a hammer wrist curl. So this one, of course, it's always harder with the fat grips, so I always use those. And basically, we're just lifting it up as if you were gonna maybe like take a drink of something, but we're not engaging the bicep. It's just the wrist. And I find it is easier if you grab the dumbbell at the bottom. Very difficult. Let's switch hands. Next, we're going to move on to antagonist work when it comes to grip. So the muscles that extend the fingers, the extensors, opposed to the flexors. So you want to stay balanced with your exercises. So it doesn't mean you have to have a 1-to-1 ratio of flexor to extensor work, but you should include some extensor work in your routine regularly. And what I'm going to do to warm up is I have these finger bands by Billion Fitness, and these are by far the best ones I've ever used. Every other brand snaps within a week. I've had these for months and they haven't even shown any signs of wear and tear. So if you're looking for finger band extensors, get that brand. Again, as always, bands are a great way to warm up, to do those prehab exercises to prevent injury, get those muscles firing. Just like before, we're gonna do a reverse wrist curl, up, Okay, next up is going to be dumbbell pinch holds with a bent arm. And although this is working pinch grip for sure, just to keep your wrist from breaking, from flexing, keeping it straight in a parallel line with the ground is going to be the tough part. And so although it's working pinch, it's also working the top of your forearm quite a bit. I set up some pillows on the ground just in case I drop my dumbbell. So there are other grip implements that I do use during my regular training routine, such as like a cannonball, grips, hangboard, and wooden piston grip for pinch, crimp, and pinch as well. But although you'll get very strong using these, they don't grow your forearms well. And so when we talk about muscle growth, we really need some sort of muscle damage. And so a lot of muscle damage occurs on the eccentric portion of the lift. So when you're going down or negative. So when you're lifting, there's not a whole lot of muscle damage, although yes, there is. It's on the down, right, the eccentric portion of the lift. That creates a lot of muscle damage, which will result in hypertrophy or muscle growth. So there's no real eccentric portion of any of these grip implements, so they're not really muscle building, which is why a gripper is so good, because you have an eccentric and concentric portion of that lift. Same thing with wrist curls.
In addition to the exercises you use to stimulate your forearm muscle development and growth, so many other factors play a role, including what intensity level you work at, what rep range you're working at, what energy system you're using, and how often you're using them. Are you varying in between those energy systems and rep ranges? How consistent you are. Is your diet sufficient in calories and protein and timed post-exercise to develop muscle growth and stimulate that hypertrophy and stimulate muscle protein synthesis? Are you sleeping enough every day consistently throughout the week? What is your lifestyle like outside of training, as well as your genetics? What is your biological propensity to put on muscle mass? So there's so many factors that go into it, but hopefully these exercises and this discussion helps give you a better idea of ways to grow your forearms.
All right, guys, that was it for this how to build big forearms tutorial. Those are the exercises I use outside of climbing or Ninja Warrior training. So if you like the video, please like and subscribe. I appreciate it a lot, and have yourself a good day.